I want you to see what it looks like in real time for an actual student to begin to learn the process of studying art. I want you to see what actual progression looks like, not just visually, but also mentally. As a student, there are so many different things that you end up learning along the way. And I initially thought when I started learning art that it would just be more like learning a skill, a basic skill. Art has taught me a whole array of things, like putting lines on paper, perspective, doing 3D objects, light and shadow, but also things about how to hold my arm correctly, draw from the shoulder, keeping your posture straight so that I can get those lines, having to actually use arm muscles that really don't want to be used. And then on top of all of that is the emotional processing, having to confront all these things that you didn't even realize may come up for you. It could be past beliefs around how to achieve things in art. It could be past beliefs about yourself. It could be past beliefs about what you think people think of you. This channel is about honoring people and their uniqueness and their individuality. If there's one thing that I've really come to learn in my process of studying, which is so exciting and extremely unexpected, is that I lean into a much more unique, individual looking face now. I don't seek out portraits of the standard beauty styles. It just holds no interest to me. I seek out all different faces and sizes. I don't see what could be considered a fault. I just see it as the natural element. And the beauty of that is because the paper doesn't judge. Your ink does not judge. All the judgment comes out of your head. But the moment it's on the paper, a whole part of the process of art is to realistically be able to put onto the paper what you see, and you have to be able to form that eye in order to do that. That's a training, that's learning, that's a skill that you have to see. And you have to get over internal biases in order to do that. And I want this channel to celebrate that. I want this channel to celebrate honoring our individuality and recognizing that they're just parts of who we are. I won't stop learning. That's the beauty of my brain. I will continue to learn to my limitations. If that's the day I die, if that's dementia, if that's something, I will keep pushing those limits. And I want to be here and share this with you to maybe help you get past some of those same limitations. I know what it's like to live inside a mental prison. I know what it's like to not be able to trust yourself on a daily basis, where every thought you have questions your sanity, questions your goodness, questions your worth. Every single thought, from the moment that I wake up to the moment I go to bed, that's what happens. And I get that, I understand that, and I'm hoping that some of these videos will help you be able to get to those creative spaces that you really want to get to in a really positive and safe way, in a comfortable way, in a way where you can maybe begin to trust yourself, to understand what your limitations are and know that those aren't the same as the person next to you, that they differ for every single person. My mental state is only a very small part of who I am, much like my body or my voice. I can work with it, or I can blame myself for not being able to change it, or I could shame myself for not being good enough. These make up only very small parts of who we are, but it doesn't make up our worth. It doesn't make me who I am. A big lesson I've learned is all about starting. You just got to start. You've just got to start. You've just got to start. Me and starting don't have a good relationship. Haven't for my entire life. Me and starting, so uncomfortable. So I know how to do so many things. I teach myself a lot, I study a lot, but knowledge and action are two completely different things, and that pisses me off so much. Oh my God. But you just have to start. You just have to start. And this is me starting. This is like you're looking at it. And part of my learning is that you don't make perfect be the enemy of good. You just work towards starting. That's how all of this started for me. I just sat down one day and started a random piece of artwork. I spend my days listening to Start yell at me over my shoulder. Just yelling and yelling and yelling until I give into it. Actually, it's probably perfectionism, but that's a topic for another day. I just spend all day hearing it, and it gets louder and louder and louder until sometimes I can step in and do something and ease it, but it never quite goes away. Even when I'm actually doing it, I will manage to punish myself in some fashion. In some mental flogging, I will manage to punish myself while I'm performing the action. It's like when I have anxiety over having anxiety. I can't just get enough of anxiety. I have to double down and repackage it into special brand new anxiety, even though the old anxiety was just fine. But no, new anxiety is for me. So this is me on like my 5th attempt of recording, and I'm just doing it. I'm putting it out there. So what's something that you can do today that won't be perfect, but might be good? Just start. Just get off the fence. Just start. All right, so I think it's finally time for me to talk about the actual piece of artwork and what I thought of it by the end of it. It is currently the end of June. It's June 30, and I did this back in April. So that's April, May, June. That's 3 months. Now, over that time, I have tried to study properly and achieve a consistent art flow. And that means working every day as often as I can. Again, to my own limitations. Now, I work a little differently to other people, but I have my own study. And in that, I break it down into a proper course. I'm currently sort of balancing between 2 different courses, but each one supports the other, and I do them at the same time. I officially started arting in February. I have a date specifically because of the piece of artwork that I used, but I started dedicating myself to it, I'd say probably in March, and that's when I decided to do 30 days of heads. Now, these didn't have to be referenced heads, they were just general heads. It was just me learning how to do a basic head. And this was one of them. So I think this was nearer the end of that month. And there is a reason that I picked this one, because my channel is all about showing the learning process, and you don't know what you don't know, okay? And I joined a Discord called Lightbox, and Lightbox is an amazing art Discord. They are so supportive. You can get feedback on your work. And there I am in the little kiddie pool of Lightbox with like masters and amazing artists and pros. And I go into the feedback area and I post this beauty. And I say, hey guys, I just don't understand why this doesn't work. I don't quite get it. And I got a really blunt reaction basically saying, you just need to know the basics. You're not understanding the basics. And that got me right in the balls. That was just done. It took me a little bit to recover from that. And I will admit, I reconsidered my entire art career for probably a good 2 to 3 hours after that. It hit me hard. Basically someone saying, just, you don't know the basics. Just stop. And now this is 3 months down the track and I'm looking at it and I can see what was wrong. And it's taken a lot of time to get there, and a lot of these videos I hope will show you how you can do that, or the mental process around how to see like an artist or how to see like a painter, and how long it might take you to finally begin to get your head around the 3D form, because that's what this is. I failed here on recognizing the 3D form. The nose is not in the right place, and you'll see I have real problems with noses. It's when they come out and then they shift left or right, the way the head is tilted. I feel like at the beginning of this it was working, and then by the end, nah. And the hair, I don't know about the hair because I still don't, but essentially it was supposed to be windswept which means that the hairline is back, but you can't see that. It doesn't look like that. God, I hope this is making sense. See, I like the mouth. I think the mouth is good, and that's quite difficult for me. Ears an okay place. Like, I could go back and redo this and probably get a little bit better, but I'd still probably mess it up. Like, that's just how this process is going, and you'll see that as we keep working. So this is my complete utter failure, and I hope that this brings you a little bit of joy and hope today, because you're going to see as I keep working it, I'll get it. It always helps me when I see someone else progress, so I want you to take that with you today. Be kind to yourself and start something. See what happens. You never know.